Last week, we started a new and peculiar GitHub bot project. We are building a GitHub bot powered by AI that will create issues and interact with pull requests. It's going to be an entitled, sassy Victorian-era ghost. So far, we got a plan for the project, the basic tech stack we'll use, and we also got the Probot starter and a GitHub app configured and running. It's time to give our bot some skills and personality with AI. So, today we're going to integrate OpenAI into the project, and we're going to write the logic and prompts we need so our ghost can start generating issues in the repo. For the repo to feel hunted, I want the bot to keep a stack, let's say at least 5 open issues at all times. So here's how we're going to achieve that. First, we need to listen to certain events triggered by users in the hunted repo. As we saw last week, these events will reach our bot through webhooks. Then the issue creator will use GitHub's API to count the currently open issues. If the repo has already reached a certain amount of issues, the process will end right there. And if there's room for more issues, we'll trigger the process to generate a new one. That's when we'll use OpenAI's API to generate the title of the issue and the description. And there's a final request to GitHub's API to open the issue in the hunted repo. Just one more small detail. Human collaborators are not the only ones that can trigger events. When our bot creates an issue, the event will also be triggered, which means that this whole flow will run in a loop until we reach a certain number of open issues. So now that we know what we are building, let's get to it. First, we'll code a simple issue creator without AI. We wanted to check if the max number of issues was reached and create a new one if not. We'll start by simply triggering it when a new issue is opened. Now let's try it out by creating a new test issue. And there we have the loop running, generating issues until it reaches the max number of issues. Now I want to set this max number of issues in an environment variable, so I can easily change it later. Here's a quick tip for you that I always forget how to do. If you're using TypeScript, you can type your custom environment variables by creating a process M interface like this. If you're curious about why this works, we are using a TypeScript concept called declaration merging. So we are declaring an interface called process_env within the global node.js namespace, but this interface was already declared by Node itself. So the two declarations will be merged by the compiler, which allows us to get intelligence and type checking over our own custom environment variables. Just a cool TypeScript thing that I wanted to share. Now we need to trigger this issue creator when issues are closed, deleted, assigned, or even opened. That way our bot can scan if an issue is missing at any time and add a new one. By the way, I love how Probot allows us to set all the events within an array instead of having to declare multiple listeners. And now it's time to integrate OpenAI into the solution. I'm going to code a new module called Ghost AI, which will handle all the AI stuff for now. We'll actually call the chat completion API twice. One for the title and a follow-up message to ask for a description. That way I don't have to ask it to format it all in a JSON object and validate it. It will hopefully make things simple. So now we are generating issues using AI, but it's not quite what we want yet. It's not really behaving like a Victorian-era ghost. It's just generating issues with AI. So we need to work on our prompts. To begin with, I decided to create a simple template that will represent the different sections in our prompt. So first we need to give our ghost a personality. It also needs a goal or a task to achieve, and we need to give it some context so it can achieve its task more efficiently. And finally, we want to specify the format we want for the output. With all that in mind, I went to ChatGPT to try a few sample prompts down. I also decided that the app we are going to hunt, or the repo we are going to hunt, is going to be a to-do list app. So for now, we're just going to add that information in the prompt, just to give the AI more context. After going back and forth with ChatGPT for a while, I started to get some pretty decent results. To build the prompts from a template, there was a tool that I have heard of and wanted to try. It's called Liquid. It's an open source template language that allows us to power up our templates with content and even change the structure with if-else blocks and loops. So we are going to write our prompt templates in a TXT file, and then we are going to use the Liquid engine to process that file and fill it with context. The last step to complete our issue creator is to get the latest issues and use them as context for our prompt. That way, the AI can get a sense of where the repo is at before creating a new issue. So we are done with this task. It was pretty straightforward and we didn't see any problems yet, so surely the project manager will be pleased. You're finally starting to see our bot's real potential here. It's writing issues now all by itself, and the code we wrote today can easily be extended and reused to add more features. So We'll see what we can do with that next week with pull requests and comments. Until then, keep coding and have fun!